Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hancock with Beyond You Coaching. Today I want to talk about anger, what it is, why we get angry, and what can be done about it. In today's video, you'll learn 3 powerful lessons to help you navigate life better with regard to anger. This is the first part of a 2-part video. In order to understand where anger comes from, we must first understand the nature of our mind. To begin with, our thoughts and beliefs dictate how we see our world. When we believe a thought and expect certain things to happen and they don't, we find ourselves getting frustrated. Have you noticed this within yourself? Have you seen how you get frustrated and angry because you didn't get what you wanted when you wanted it? Frustration can be a subtle reaction to a common everyday scenario, such as a spouse not acting how we'd like, our children not fulfilling our requests, or a boss that doesn't seem to recognize our value. Although all of these experiences are quite common, experiencing frustration on a regular basis can become the breeding ground to developing more intense emotions, such as anger and even rage. Frustration, anger, and rage are extremely energy depleting. Let us consider what it's like to be someone that is ruled by frustration and anger. We all know that they are not fun to be around. And no surprise, they tend to not like their own energy very much either, which is exactly why they are constantly trying to throw off and release their energies onto something other than themselves. Have you ever noticed this? Angry people take out their aggression on anyone or anything that happens to get in their way. Angry people tend to fixate on things that are not going to plan or meeting their needs. Individuals living in this state of mind tend to create repeated cycles of negative thoughts, negative emotions, and negative consequences, which then breed more negative thoughts. They end up creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of frustration, anger, and rage over and over again. This is clearly not a healthy way to live. When we look at the animal kingdom, we see that the emotion of anger is often expressed as a primal reaction to show dominance and power for the purposes of safety and survival. Here we can easily see where anger is considered appropriate with consideration to an organism's level of self-awareness. We can see that animals express anger only when necessary, which is in contrast to humans who indulge in negative thinking as a consequence of personal identification. However, human beings have been graced with a much more complex brain structure and are capable of controlling our thoughts and emotions through increased self-awareness. Self-awareness allows us to rise above primal reactions of fear and instead respond through compassion and understanding. This is what it means to be a fully conscious human being. There's a great story that illustrates this point. One day, the Buddha was sitting with his disciples when a very angry man came right up to him and spat in his face. Buddha's devout disciple Ananda was horrified and enraged within himself that such a man would dare do something so foul to an enlightened being. Ananda asked the Buddha for permission to show this man the consequences of such an action. But the Buddha merely wiped his face and said calmly to the man, "Thank you, sir. You've created a perfect scenario in which I could see whether or not I am still capable of being angry. I'm very happy to know that I am not angry. Even when people go so far as to spit in my face, I am not angry. This is very good. You helped me evaluate myself, and at the same time, you've also given Ananda the same opportunity. You've made us both realize where we are at right now. So thank you." This story is both impressive and also a little confusing. How is it that the Buddha couldn't feel anger at such a disrespectful act? Let's understand that in order to get angry with someone spitting on you, you would have had to have the belief that you deserve respect at all times, or perhaps a belief that says people don't go around spitting on each other. Whatever the case, if someone goes against your personal belief, whatever that is, you will generate anger at not having your expectations met. But from the Buddha's perspective, the man was merely acting out behavior that was in alignment to his unique set of beliefs and rules that made him feel justified in his actions. Think of every time you got angry in the past. Did you not feel justified in your actions due to your own personal beliefs? This ancient story teaches us many lessons. First, the man was merely acting out behavior based on his own personal set of beliefs, something that we've all experienced. But the more profound lesson here is the Buddha's impressive conscious response to the man. In this story, the Buddha represents an enlightened mind, one that is still and consciously aligned to the present moment. A still mind has cleansed itself of the software programs that run in the background, dictating beliefs and perceptions. A still mind only lives in the present moment. Imagine if your mind was so still that whatever presented itself to you was a wondrous and magical experience. You don't have the need to label it good or bad, but you do respond with full conscious awareness in whatever way best suits the needs for the moment. Imagine the level of self-awareness and control of one's mind. This is what it means to be enlightened. Your mind doesn't run the show, you do. Eckhart Tolle is a modern-day enlightened mind who wrote the very famous book, The Power of Now. There's a very powerful passage in this book that says, "The mental suffering you create is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. On the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment. The intensity of the suffering depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment." So we learn from Buddha's encounter and Eckhart's eloquent explanation that the root cause of anger is actually being in resistance to the present moment. We also see that a still mind perceives from an elevated state of conscious awareness that allows for greater compassion and understanding of the present moment. In this case, the Buddha recognized that the man only attacked him because he believed his thoughts and was suffering anger because of his thoughts. When we learn to see the world from this perspective, we see that things happen, but they aren't at all personal. Now, you may struggle with this. How is it that we cannot take things personally? Well, in order to understand this, we must first recognize that everyone has their own unique and separate universe by which they operate, according to their own deep inner programming, belief systems, thoughts, and karmic tendencies and compulsions. We are all a unique bag of mixed energies. No two people think exactly alike or see the world exactly alike. What is true for one person is not true for another. There are social and cultural norms, but not everyone is governed by them. Other people may not adopt your standards or fulfill your expectations. This is because they operate under their own unique set of rules, past experiences, upbringing, thoughts, emotions, and unique energetic state. When we can see this and accept this to be true, then we can understand how no matter what anyone says or does, it really has nothing to do with us. Ultimately, only you are responsible for your state of being, independent of what is happening externally around you. And this is precisely the lesson that is illustrated by the story of the Buddha. Nothing other people do is because of you. All people's actions are limited to their conscious awareness at that particular moment in time, and they act in the best way they know how. This means that even when people do nice or kind things, they are actually not doing it because of you. They are doing it because of their own different rules and programs that in turn create different belief structures, thoughts, and expectations. So in summary, we've learned 3 very powerful lessons. First, the awareness that anger arises from not having our expectations met, expectations that are built from our own unique beliefs of how the world should work. Second, that a more evolved mind sees from a compassionate perspective in which each being is doing the best they can with what they know. And third, we've learned that what anyone does ultimately has nothing at all to do with us and everything to do with them. So where do we go from here? How can we turn these 3 powerful lessons into knowledge and implement them through wisdom? How can we bring more stillness to our responses so that we don't get caught up in angry reactions? We will answer all of these questions in part 2, and I will give you a step-by-step process on exactly how to stay in the present moment using your mind as the tool. By taking control of the mind and aligning with the present moment, we consciously choose to grow, mature, and evolve into more enlightened human beings. Until then, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share it with someone who can benefit from knowing more about anger. If you're new here and are interested in learning more about the mind, personal growth, and higher awareness, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.